The Chat Trap.
That is right. This is, of course, the Chat Trap on a Relax Radio. A very good evening to every single one of you listening in. It is definitely such a pleasure to be here. It's definitely such a pleasure to have you on board. It is the final few minutes of the show, but I want to remind you that I have so much amazing things that I want to share with you, that I want to discuss with you. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio, okay? Now, with that being said, like I said, I was Jamie. I am Jamie, and I'm going to be with you for a few more minutes actually. But don't worry, because the conversation continues. We're going to be talking to you about every single thing that you need to do, and that you need to know rather. And all you gotta do is make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. That is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. You know, you can check us out on our social media as well. And this is happening live. This is happening real time. But even if I'm not here, even if there's no shows going on, that doesn't mean that we won't respond to you, that we won't have a conversation with you. Okay? Whenever, wherever, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, we always love to have a good conversation with you. We love to, we love it when you share your thoughts and ideas. So if you want to do that, all you gotta do is go on ahead and drop us a message on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Yeah, that's it. But make sure that you go show us some love on our social media. And if you want to ever talk to me, if you want to, have a conversation with me, if you want to share a topic that you want me to discuss during the show, well, you can most definitely do that by heading on over to Facebook and searching Jamie on a Relax, right? And then you are going to find us, or you could simply head on over to our Facebook page or Instagram or whatever it is and drop us an inbox message, and we will most definitely directly interact with you. Okay, now with that being said, let's get on into the actual conversation. Oh, I also want to remind you, before we get into that conversation, I want to remind you that you can download our app. The app, honestly speaking, and I'm being super genuine right now, and I'm thinking of you when I'm saying this, but the app is such an amazing thing. Okay, you definitely need to check the app out, because it is going to give you the best of information, and you can take us with you wherever that you go. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Now, with that being said, going back into the conversation, earlier on we were talking about the whole COVID situation, right? We were talking about, if you're living in England, then you know, if you're living in the UK rather, or if you're living in England, you do know that already, that Prime Minister Boris Johnson is planning on essentially cutting down on all of the restrictions as of I think 19th of July, and as of August 16th, there's going to be a lot of changes made where people won't have to wear masks, where self-isolation rules are going to be changed, and I gave you a very comprehensive understanding of all of the changes in rules or whatever, okay? But the reason I brought it up once more is because I want to know what you're thinking. I do know that, I shared with you my personal opinion, and a lot of you don't agree with that essentially, because I said that, with cases in England rising so much. If you didn't know, today, Wednesday, that's today, we had over 3,000 cases, over 30,000 cases, and that is a first. That is a first since January. So yeah, cases in the UK have risen above 30,000 for the first time since January, which kind of makes me question, and which kind of makes me apprehensive about all of the decisions that are being made by our government. I do know that a lot of you think it's necessary. Everybody needs to go back to their normal lives. The country needs to function. So I guess getting rid of the restrictions and adapting to whatever that comes along is the only way to go forward. Whereas there's also a bunch of you that don't agree with this. There's a bunch of you that kind of believe that the restrictions need to be kept in place because it's a risk that's not worth taking. I definitely want to know, which side are you leaning more towards? Do you think that people should stop wearing masks? Do you think that people should stop self-isolating when they come in contact with a COVID positive patient? What is your stance on this? Let me know by leaving a comment down below. You could always call me also if you just want to have a cool, chill chat while you relax at home after work or whatever it is. You can always call me up on 07852 473 473. Okay. Now going back into just taking a look at the entertainment industry. Earlier we spoke of the Cannes Film Festival, right? And I gave you a little update about how the Cannes Film Festival is actually going to happen, and I told you that I was excited. But another thing that I do want to talk to you about is how a lot of big stars, who I will name to you in a few minutes, but a lot of big stars are apparently going to play small shows because live music is returning, and a lot of stars are opting to, play live shows in a small scale at least, in order to get like the music industry going. Now, summer music, like I just told you, summer music's biggest stars will squeeze into the UK's smallest venues this summer. And I think the goal or the motivation to this is so that, they'll be able to revive the grassroots music scene, right? So I guess that's a good thing. A few of the people that are playing is we have Sir Tom Jones, who will play in 800-seat Cambridge Junction, and we have Rag and Bone, who is one of my favorite artists. Rag and Bone Man, I love their songs. Rag and Bone Man will entertain about 250 fans in Tunbridge Wells Forum. Now, I know 250 seems like a lot, but these are bands and artists and individuals that have been entertaining thousands, at a time. So for them to entertain just 250 fans is a very limited number. But I don't know about you, but that kind of shows me that we've got to adapt. We can't be looking for things to go back to normal as they were before COVID. But what we could do is engage in what we normally do, but adapting and just adjusting and becoming flexible, because I believe that that's the only way to go forward. That's definitely the only way to navigate life post COVID, because it's definitely not easy. But these artists are saying it doesn't matter, we don't need 1,000 people, even if it's 250 people, as long as we're able to deliver our music, that's all that matters. And I definitely respect that kind of perseverance. I respect that decision, and we can learn something from that as well. We can learn that despite whatever that's been happening and despite old times, we gotta adjust, we gotta compromise in order to get back into at least a vivid state of normalhood, right? So that's basically what I wanted to keep you informed of. We also have other artists supporting this venture with one-off shows, and that's including Mahalia, James Arthur. Oh my goodness, James Arthur is going to have a one-off show that I am super excited about. I know that a lot, because there was a delay in removing all of the restrictions. It got postponed to the 19th of July, and there were so many music festivals, there were so many festivals, summer festivals that were supposed to happen that were cancelled. But as of 19th July, there's going to be shows that are happening. James Arthur is one of them that is going to have a one-off live show, which I'm super excited about. We also have Frank Turner, Sam Fender, Fountains DC are a few of the people that will be performing very soon. So Rag and Bone has already tested the waters because he's played, I think, about 3, and I know that a lot of you living in if you're living in the UK, and even if you're living around the world, Rag and Bone Man is a household name because his music just never fails to impress, But yeah, Rag and Bone Man has already, done this sort of low-key, small live event, situation, because he has already played 3 low-key socially distanced shows at London's Jazz Cafe last week. So if you if you live in London, and if you were a part of a few of the lucky people that were able to go, well, I envy you. I'm so glad that you got to go. I'm so glad that, if you did get to go, it's amazing. But if you didn't as well, you could catch all of these shows online. Again, that's another compromise that we need to do moving forward. That's another way of adapting, in my opinion. Apart from that, actually, the Revive Live scheme has been organized by, it's called the Music Venues Trust, in conjunction with the National Lottery in London or in England, which basically contributes about £1 million to help up-and-coming artists pay for touring expenses. Now, with that being said, we already spoke a few days back. We spoke of the Brexit impact on young and upcoming artists, and I told you how pre-Brexit artists were able to travel to all of the EU nations and kind of perform without a work visa or without any documentation. But post-Brexit, the situation is very different because there is documentation of work visa, and there's like a whole process that's required, which kind of makes it so much harder for new artists to kind of showcase their music, to go around and play. So that's just a lot of information. I feel like I gave you a lot of information in the past couple minutes, but yeah, that's basically our goal. We want to make sure that you are informed and entertained at the same time. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relaks Radio. And I want you to do me a favor. If you're listening to us on our social media, make sure that you hit the thumbs up button. Make sure that you leave a comment down below, because I definitely, we've been talking about artists, about music. Let me know if you're excited that these artists that I named are going to be performing soon. Which other artists you wish would have live shows in London or wherever you are living? Go ahead and let me know by leaving a comment down below, or call me on 07852473473. Now, with that being said, we're going to head on over to a little break, but when I come back, there's so much more that I want to share with you. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relaks Radio, okay?
One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money, make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends, and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
The Chat Trap.
That is right. This is the chat trap on Relax Radio. How is everybody doing? How is your day going so far? I feel like I asked this question quite a lot from you, but that's because I genuinely do care about how you are faring. I genuinely do hope that you had an amazing day. And even if you didn't, I want to remind you that it's okay. Tomorrow could always be better, but all it takes is your mindset. All it takes is your perseverance to ensure that tomorrow is going to be as good as possible. So yeah, just make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. We have a lot of interesting things that I do want to share with you. And yeah, it's a few minutes up until I leave. But with that being said, I want to remind you that we got Kyle coming up, and he definitely will give you so much amazing information, and he is going to give you such amazing conversation. And I can assure you that he is going to be for you. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Now, I also want you to do me a favor. I want you to head on over to our social media. That is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. We go as Relax Radio, and I want you to, let me know what you're thinking. Show us some love on our social media. Get on board the show. Let me know what's going on, because it's always amazing to have your support. It's always amazing to know that you are with us throughout this journey. Now, with that being said, I feel like I've been talking about Britney Spears quite a lot, but I also just want to give you a little update on what's happening with the whole Britney Spears situation. Britney Spears' court-appointed lawyer has actually asked to resign from his role as the fallout from the pop star's dramatic court testimony continues. Now, that's this. If you don't know what's happening with Britney Spears, well, I gave you like a very insightful rundown yesterday of what exactly is happening. But the summary of it is that there's this whole conservatorship. She is placed under conservatorship in 2008, which means that she is not able to independently make any decision for herself. She's not independently able to decide where to perform, how many children to have, basic life decisions with regards to her finances. These are not things that she's able to do. But apart from all of that, yesterday we spoke of how Britney Spears' manager actually quit or resigned. But today there's additional news that Britney Spears' court-appointed lawyer has just asked to resign from his role, which to me is again very suspicious. Everybody is resigning, and the only person or the only two people that are standing again for this conservatorship deal is Jaimmy Spears, that's Britney Spears' father, and the co-conservator, who is Montgomery. Now, at the end of the day, like I always say, Britney Spears is definitely somebody that we looked up to growing up. She was such an icon. She was just such an amazing person. Her songs, me personally, I don't know about you, but her songs have definitely helped me growing up just to have a good time, to forget about my worries and just dance it out and have fun. So it's definitely heartbreaking to know what she's going through, and I just wish what's best happens to her, or what's best for her turns out to be, right? At the end of the day, it's not fair what she's going through. I don't think anybody should go through that situation, but yeah, I definitely want to know what your stance on this whole situation is. Go ahead and by calling me either on 07852473473, or this is happening live, right? So if you leave a comment down below, I can directly interact with that comment, and we can have a live conversation, which is pretty cool. Okay, now with that being said, it's about that time that I head on out of here. But before that, I do want to remind you, okay, I feel like one of the hardest things to do is to be joyful. I know that sounds cliche, and I know that sounds cheesy as heck, okay? But I feel like a lot of the time, the reason we're unhappy, or the reason why we don't have joy in our lives, is not because of what's happening around us. It's because we tell ourselves, oh no, today is going to be a bad day, or today we can't be happy because of certain things that we do. So before I leave, I kind of want to give you a rundown of certain things that you probably do that tend to steal away your joy, that tend to steal away your happiness. And I think the first thing that kind of prevents you from being as happy as possible, that prevents you from being joyful, is when you compare yourself with others, okay? It's something that we've been taught to do growing up. From childhood, you've either been compared to your best friend, or you've been compared to your siblings. It's just something that has happened. But I feel like this has become so commonplace that we have come to a point where we hold a belief that we will only be happy when we have something more than the other person have. Like if you have a better car than this next person, that's when you're going to be happy. Or if you earn a better salary than the next other person, that's when you're going to be happy, which is absolutely not true, right? You're depending your happiness on somebody else, and that's definitely not healthy. That's not good for you. So one thing that if you want to be as happy as possible, one thing that you definitely must do is to stop comparing yourself with others. Another thing that you could do is to stop, fussing over your past mistakes. If you grieve over your past mistakes, I feel like it's just too much energy that is wasted on the past. You will say that it's not easy to forget things, but remember, easy or difficult, it is a choice anyway. Okay, so don't brood over your past mistakes. Don't judge a person by their appearance. We tend to lose a lot of joy that we get out of relationships or friendships because we judge a person by their appearance. We expect too much from others. Is also That's also yet another reason that adds to us not being able to be happy. Don't postpone your joy. If you want to be happy, celebrate the little moments. Don't hold grudges. Don't wait for the perfect moment. These are all little things that you can do to be as happy as possible. Now, with that being said, I hope all the happiness for you. But with that being said, it's about that time that I head on out of here. But like I said, we got Kyle coming up.